And I think, at this age, it's a 50-50 fight for Manny Pacquiao.
Zero.
You know what, man? It's all up here and it's here. It's what you got. It's what you use.
Pacquiao trying to hit a lick, you know what I mean? But Pacquiao not Pacquiao no more. It's tough to go against him in this situation because if it was some years ago, Pacquiao would beat Barrios.
Boxing experts say that Mario Barrios will meet Manny Pacquiao. Crawford thinks Barrios is a great opponent for Manny, but he agrees that Pacquiao's age, 46 years old, makes it hard to tell. Crawford says the fight is a toss-up. He respects Pacquiao's.
You got any thoughts on that fight with Mario Barrios, and is there any chance we see you still in there at 46?
Nah, at 46, I don't plan on being back in the ring, but Mario Barrios is a great matchup for Manny Pacquiao. And I think, at this age, it's a 50-50 fight for Manny Pacquiao.
Past, but wonders how much he still has in the tank. Sugar. Ray. The things Leonard said make me feel very strongly. His lesson isn't just about boxing. It's about having guts, believing in yourself, and being strong inside as a legend who knows what it's like to be great and be held to high standards. Leonard's advice to Pacquiao to follow his heart is strong. He doesn't care about the age debate, because as he says, it's not the number but the mindset that defines an athlete's ability.
Now, at 46, about to make his way back into the ring. I saw him training this morning, but a lot of people are worried about him. He's been inactive. Bob Arum, his longtime, guy, even said, I don't want to see him get hurt. Rooting for him, but I don't want to see him get hurt. What do you think as a guy, who's probably thought about getting back in the ring a few times? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think?
Well, actually, I can't comment too harshly on that because I made more comebacks than everybody. I hold a record, undisputed.
Yeah.
But you know what? Hey, do what you want to do, man.
Do you think the idea of like inactivity when you have somebody who lives his life to do it is a big deal,
Man. I mean, there's no one thing that will really make people understand why we do what we do. But you know what? God bless, stay healthy, and take care.
Hey, last thing, like he's fighting a 30-year-old. What do you think? What would that be like running with a motor like that, later in your years? Like against a 30-year-old motor against your body's just different, I'm 41. So like I know my body's different than it was when.
You're a baby.
But what do you think about that? Like the motor difference between a 30-year-old and a 46-year-old?
You know what, man? It's all up here and it's here. It's what you got. It's what you use. Again, there's no way to answer this, but stay healthy.
This support is based on the idea that people with a lot of passion and willpower can often go beyond what logic or age says is possible. The fact that Leonard gave Pacquiao his blessing shows that he admires and respects his strong character. The return of Manny Pacquiao has sparked new excitement in the fighting world. Legendary broadcaster Michael Buffer correctly summed up that feeling when he called Pacquiao's return epic. Buffer noted that it's not unusual for legendary fighters to return, especially when they keep sharpness and discipline. His respect wasn't just for Pacquiao's status, but for the excellent form he had shown during training. Buffer stressed that Pacquiao isn't simply chasing past glory. He's training seriously and showing signs of real competitiveness, unlike some comebacks that feel promotional. Pacquiao's return looks fueled by real purpose. Buffer's words helped validate the effort and reminded fans that great champions can still surprise us. This isn't just about history, it's about one of boxing's most iconic people showing that passion and planning still matter. His words reflect the growing opinion that Pacquiao's return may be more than symbolic. It could be important in today's welterweight landscape. If you like this, please subscribe Punch Vista and click the bell icon for more latest and interesting videos.
and he's one of your favorites all time. He's coming back now. He was off for 4 years. I've been watching him train every day. He looks like he hasn't missed a beat. He's sharp as could be.
And I wish him well. Big George, God rest his soul, was 45 when he won the heavyweight title. Bernard was, 43, 44, 45 when he won his third world title. So, I mean, listen, miracles can happen. He's focused, he looks fit, and I wish him well. I love him. Wish him the best.
Mutual.
Picture?
Yep.
Okay, hold on.
Abel Sanchez offers a fair take on the risks of this high-profile match. On one hand, he understands the risk involved in challenging someone like Mario Barrios, who is young, active, and dangerous. On the other hand, Sanchez points to past to tell us that boxing has seen its share of surprises.
To tell them to hang him up, he's older, he's been out of the ring, he's fighting I'm not gonna say a young champion, but he's fighting a very decent champion. Probably the lesser of the three of the welterweight champions, but he is getting up in age. Will he be able to recapture some of that speed and snap to his punches? Who knows? But George Foreman did it at a much later age, so Manny has a chance. I think that he has a chance against a good champion.
Do you feel like with Mario Barrios in particular, then it's a champion they've targeted because in his last performance he didn't really, set the world alight. It was a draw, and he's left a few question marks around himself.
Not only that, the other thing is Norman is a very good fighter, and so is Boots. I mean, you're talking about two very good fighters that are, I think, on a different level than Barrios is.
Do you feel like that this could be the risk though? Let's say if Manny was to have success, was to become champion again, then he then looks at it and thinks, oh, can I go on a run? Can I get one of these other names?
That is a big risk, but I don't think that would be the fight that. Those two wouldn't be the fights that they would be looking for. I'm sure that if Manny is fortunate enough to be in great shape, and listen, Freddie's a master. Freddie will figure out a way to win a fight that's winnable, and maybe then guide him towards other.
The George Foreman. Comparison says that while it's rare, extraordinary things do happen in the ring. Oscar De La Hoya takes a protective stance when assessing Pacquiao's comeback. His worry lies in the fine line between ambition and risk, especially in a sport as unforgiving as boxing. De La Hoya stresses that physical readiness at 46 takes a different method and that overtraining can do more harm than good. While he honors Pacquiao's heritage, he makes no bold predictions. Instead, he stresses the complexities that age and health bring into the equation. His cautious view adds a layer of importance to the otherwise celebratory tone surrounding the fight.
You're 46 years old. You have to remember that. So give your body some rest. Rest right now is Manny Pacquiao's friend in between training, in between sparring sessions. There's no shame in taking a day off or two, Manny. Trust me. Let your body relax, let your body rest. He'll do fine. He's experienced. He's got obviously the power, because it never leaves you. The speed I'm a little worried about, but I think, look, Barrios is a live dog. He's a world champion, and he's no slouch. So I think it's going to be a good fight. I wish Manny all the best. I'm not sure who's going to win. I really haven't seen Barrios, but I think Barrios, the youth is obviously with him in this corner.
Robert, Garcia's thoughts touch on the undeniable truth of athletic decline, though respectful of Pacquiao's past successes. Garcia doesn't shy away from the physical realities that come with aging. His worry centers on how even the most elite fighters can struggle when facing opponents with youth and physical benefits. Garcia isn't questioning Pacquiao's heart or skill. He's warning about the limits of the body, something no athlete, however famous, can fully escape.
Well, Pacquiao's a big name, and obviously Barrios a great fight for Barrios because he's a champion, and I think Pacquiao, being that they both have connections with PBC, that's the easiest fight to make. So, getting another title opportunity, I just the name obviously, but I really believe that Pacquiao shouldn't be fighting. I think it's actually going to be a little. I don't want to say sad because he's going to make a lot of money, so we can't feel sorry for him. But at 46, almost 47, it's almost impossible for, I'm just 4 years older, 4 years older than him, and it's not easy to try to think you're gonna get in shape and be able to perform like the way you were when you were in your 20s and 30s.
You think it's impossible for him to beat Mario Barrios right now?
Well, it's not impossible because he has power. He should have that power. Barrios is big and a strong boy, so I don't see that happening. But is it possible? Anything's possible. George Foreman did it. There's been others that do it. But I really don't see it happening.
But Pacquiao speed's the name of his game. Do you think he doesn't have that? There's no way he doesn't have the same speed as before.
There's no way, bro. You guys, I don't know if you guys seen his last performance.
The exhibition against that big guy.
It was actually embarrassing to see that shit. You know, so it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. You know what I mean?
If Pacquiao wins, what does that do for him? Where does that put him all time?
Hell, come on, at that age, after like a few years, I don't know how many years he's been out. That'd be impressive. It's hard to think it's gonna happen, but that shit would be nice, man. It would be nice. Very few have done it, and he's actually one that could do it.
The analysis by Chris Manx and Sergio Mora injects faith into Pacquiao's return. Mora's comment about Pacquiao's preserved speed and fluid footwork speaks to his continuous dedication to training even in retirement. This isn't a superficial return, designed for quick headlines. It's a structured and intentional return by contrasting it with other short-lived comebacks. They highlight Pacquiao's seriousness, further elevating hopes and intrigue around the fight.
Left, ready to go again, working with Freddie Roach. I feel like I'm back in 2010, the Wayback Machine. Pacquiao looked pretty good in some of the videos that I saw, like he wasn't in horrible shape, but he is 46 years old, going up against a guy that is more than a decade younger than him in Mario Barrios. Bob Arum, in the same interview, he said that he was worried about Manny Pacquiao. This is a guy that promoted Pacquiao for most of his professional career, not promoting this fight against Barrios, but he said he is concerned for Pacquiao going into this fight. Do you have concerns about Pacquiao going in?
No, I don't have concerns. And look, I can post a video and look good for 10 seconds right now. Just like when Mike Tyson looked like a killer when he was promoting the Jake Paul fight. You writers and you guys with the non-boxing, I need to get those videos out of your head because they're just clips. Anyone could look good for that long. I can train you to look good for 10 seconds. It'll be pretty hard, but I can train you to look good for 10 seconds on video. So don't worry about that. I look, Bob Arum knows what he's talking about because it's the legs that's going to get to Pacquiao, not the power, not the explosive speed. In front of a heavy bag. But whenever you're in front of an opponent and he's going to be moving around, it's the legs that are going to fail you. They're going to betray you. The power's not going to betray you. That lasts until the very end. His punch resistance, that's not going to betray him because that never goes. Speed, and it's because you rely on your legs. That's the thing that goes at age. So at 46 years old, Manny Pacquiao's not going to have zero legs.
Jesse Rodriguez does not mince words when it comes to the risks Pacquiao faces. From his viewpoint, youth brings a tangible advantage, especially in later rounds where stamina and recovery play a critical part. His view goes beyond respect for Pacquiao's career and leans into the stark physical disadvantages a 46-year-old might face. Rodriguez's comments stand as a warning, emphasizing the brutal nature of elite-level competition and raising fair questions about how much damage a return like this might entail.
You got your boy Barrios fighting Pacquiao, man.
Yeah.
A legend. What do you think Barrios needs to do in that fight against Pacquiao, man?
I feel like he has to keep Pacquiao on the outside. He has a height and reach advantage, so I feel like he just go out there and do what he's always done.
What's your prediction for that fight?
Mario Barrios victory.
Do you think it goes all 12 rounds?
I think he has what it takes to stop Pacquiao.
You surprised Pacquiao's coming out of retirement at 46?
I'm very surprised. I don't think anybody expected that. So
Teddy Atlas gives a technical counterpoint to the prevailing skepticism by stating that Barrios is not a natural welterweight. Atlas questions ideas about size and strength. His breakdown shows that the difference in weight class origins might work in Pacquiao's favor, possibly narrowing the expected gap in performance. It's a subtle but important comment that repositions the story from one of imbalance to possible parity. Atlas's trust adds a strategic layer to the excitement.
Not naturally as big a man as those other welterweights. So start there. That's a fair point. He moved up in weight, Barrios. So he's not a naturally big, natural welterweight. And of course, we understand Pacquiao has moved up. My God, I don't even know when he first turned pro. You would have thought maybe he could have been a jockey.
Yeah,
I mean he was
108 pounds, right?
Yeah, jockeys are about 105 pounds, I think, somewhere around that neighborhood. I mean, can you imagine him though going to the whip? He might have killed the horse. That's the only thing. Yeah, you would have had Petter. What is it called? Peter, whatever. Peter. You would have had Peter coming after you. You know, look what he did to this horse. You know, but look, I love Pacquiao. One of my favorite people. One of my favorite fighters in the whole world. He's moved up from like whatever, incredible weight. People forget about that. That's why I brought it up. How many weight classes this man has really moved up. Incredible, just incredible. But now, yeah, Barrios wouldn't be as big as those other guys, but he's still a guy that's confident. He's a guy that's a world champion. He's a guy who throws a lot of punches. He's a guy who's younger, who's active. You know, who I know you can't go by this guy beat this guy, but he could beat that guy, but he could beat this guy, but you can't go by that in my business, in this business, because styles make fights. But you're right. He beat Ugas. You could say Ugas was a little older than when he fought him a little bit, than when Pacquiao fought him, and maybe that made a difference, whatever. But he did take a lot of punishment, Pacquiao, in the Ugas fight.
That's it for today's show. Stay tuned until next.